Welcome, everyone, to another edition of G.T.E Professional Network Podcast, where we don't just talk about business, we build networks, we create opportunities, and we turn your website into a lead generating machine, which growth is for everyone. That's my theme for 2026. Growth is for everyone.
I love it.
And it starts right now. And we have a special guest on our show that I'm really super excited about. And I just, believe it or not, got her from a friend of mine. That we talk about all the time, CC Moreland. And I'm really glad for my sister because she's really doing well. Miss Abrams is here. She's a realtor as well. From California, moved to Texas in Houston. And now she's doing her business there. So she migrated from the West Coast down to the South. We call it the
Hmm.
Mid South of Texas, and where she's really now getting her business launched and off the ground and getting things going to help homeowners. Now, and I remember last week, ladies and gentlemen, I had another realtor on my show last week, Mr. Frank, and he was really a good person to be on there for Frank's Realty that he put together here in Virginia. And so I deal with that. And then I had Mr. Francisco in Houston, Texas to talk about his business as a realtor to kind of
Hmm.
give you guys some insights. So this is a series for the month of July as we continue our growth series is to help as many people as give us permission to do so. So I want you all to take
Hmm.
copious notes and I want you to make sure that you kind of get the information because this is going to be some information that's really relevant in the marketplace today as I talk to you guys on a regular basis that we want to make sure that we stay relevant. We want to stay honest. We want to make sure that we give you the facts of the matter so that way you
Hmm.
can do your homework and research yourself so that way you can see what's this if this is going to be something that you can add to your repertoire. So we talk about this and I'm really excited. And Miss Denise Abrams, I'm really happy for you to be on the show.
Thank you.
And just kind of give us a little bit about what led you to real estate and then the home buyer education process, because this is something that I wish every agent, every realtor, every broker would do across the board is to educate the people because they don't know
Hmm.
what's out here, home
Hmm.
buyers. And now we're in the buyer's market from what I'm seeing right now in Texas and as well as in the East
Hmm.
Coast as well. So give us a little bit about yourself and what got you
Okay.
into this industry.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And first and foremost, before we start, I want to correct. I'm actually in the Dallas market, not the
Oh,
Houston market. So absent the
okay.
Dallas market.
Dallas.
But what led me to real estate, believe it or not, I'm an educator first. And so going through a nasty divorce, I'm going to make it very short and sweet, looking for something that where I can take care of my children in my last semester of school. And I stumbled into just a freaking, what do you call those, ad said they
Yeah,
needed somebody to make calls. So I was
right.
making calls, working, and make a long story short, that ad that I responded to, just doing telemarketing, led me to this. I had no idea that it was sales. I only followed the protocols to get a license because I needed to. And 2 years later, I realized that I was in sales and this was a ministry for me, educating people about the process of home buying and teaching them what that process looked like. So this is more of a ministry. So I heard you say something earlier about your passion. This is a passion for me to really empower and educate folks. And a lot of
Mhm.
times we hide information from people, especially our people. And so what I do is I give you information to empower you to make good decisions and help you understand the importance and the benefits of home ownership. So that's how I stumbled into this industry, just needing something to take care of me and my children 27 years ago. And it has been life changing.
So what is good? I'm glad you asked that question because I know a lot of people that's in the real estate space have all said the same thing, and they have this. Well, this is a passion. I love real estate too, myself personally. I've dabbled in it a bit on the basically investment side of it, and
Mm-hmm,
fix them
mm-hmm,
up
mm-hmm,
and sell them and that kind of thing.
mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm,
now
mm-hmm.
this is something that I see a lot of people are diving into. And every generation, everybody's looking for it. So what are the
Mm-hmm.
big misconceptions that people have about buying a home today in 2026?
What are some of the misconceptions? First and foremost, they think it's
Yes.
hard to buy a home. They think it's hard. They think they got to have perfect credit and a whole lot of money to purchase. And they think that process is difficult. So, what I do is I dispel all of those myths and help them really see the benefits and what that process looks like. No, you don't need perfect credit, and you definitely don't need a whole lot of money. I've had folks who've moved into a home with literally zero. And I'm not just talking about down payment, but I'm talking about down payment and closing costs. The beautiful thing of me coming from the mortgage background, and I saw thousands and thousands of credit reports. Me being a
Mhm.
former certified homebuyer educator, I've seen thousands and thousands of credit reports. So number one, that already let me know what people are lacking and where people have challenges. So I was able to help them navigate through that. Number one myth is I have to have perfect credit. No,
Yeah,
you just have to know how to work that credit, right? If there's
right.
challenges on there, you have to know how to navigate through that process. So I help people by providing them a free I call it, it's almost like a pre-approval because I also have an underwriting background. I'm looking at their situation and help them see where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are. So number
Mhm.
one, credit, we got you on credit, right? And then
Right.
the second thing is I need a lot of money. They think you need a lot of money. Believe it or not, I tell people this all the time. You can move into a property sometimes less than it you can when you're renting because if you have a program that's paying 100% of your closing costs, we have a seller that's, I mean, 100% of your down payment. We have a
Mhm.
seller that's paying 100% of your closing costs. Hello, And then
Yeah.
more importantly, and I have to bring this part up. A lot of times, and I hope it's okay for me to say our people because I'm really talking about the Black population. A lot of times
Mhm.
our people come with things in their background that prevent them from getting approved for a property because I have this record. Guess what? We don't care about a record when you buy a house. So that record, I had a family that I was talking to, and they says I can't get an apartment because my husband has this X, Y, and Z. I'm like, you can't rent,
Right.
but guess what? You can buy. So those two myths, the two myths is I got to have perfect credit and I got to have a lot of money. You can buy with zero down, and that's not cliche. I've done it thousands of times. I've taught thousands of people how to buy with that. So we need to get that out of our brain. And then to move on, I want to say, and then really helping them understand when I pay rent, if I pay $1,500 a month, every single month for 10 years, I done paid $180,000 in payments, right? Zero of that belongs to me. If I did that same thing, imagine how much money you would have in equity. And for some reason, we don't understand what equity is and how that converts to cash dollars.
That's a
So what we do,
misconception, Miss Denise, that a lot of us have in
yes,
our communities.
yes.
And I was talking to some people in Houston where I left, and they were talking about it. I need to buy me a house. I said, yeah, I got a house here in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Four
Mm-hmm,
bedroom, two baths. My uncle had, well, I inherited actually. My uncle passed away. He
mm-hmm,
was in the Navy. So my mom didn't want it, so I took over.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: when you look at homes today and what people are paying, you can say in rent, because I was paying $1,700 a month in rent in
Mhm,
Houston,
mhm, mhm, mhm,
uh, and that was just for a one bedroom.
mhm, mhm. Absolutely, absolutely.
So I was telling my friends in Chicago, now that's way more rent because the cost of living is a lot higher up there.
That's right.
And I said, you guys need to buy homes. I'm looking at all of
Absolutely.
the properties right now, and people say, well, yeah, what about getting approved? And how do we get approved? And what do we
Mhm,
do to get
mhm,
qualified?
mhm,
And
mhm.
how does that work? And what programs are out here? Nobody
That's right.
knows. Nobody
That's
knows the
right.
programs, Miss Abrams. Nobody knows anything about
That's
how to
right.
get started. So this is where you ladies, you guys come in at that's been in real estate for a minute to kind of guide the people and
Mhm,
our people
mhm.
exactly what they need to do to get qualified for a home.
And I think that's one of the things that gives me a competitive edge. And I'm not just saying that because of my mortgage background. I was a top originator. I've processed loans. I did quality control underwriting for Fannie Mae. I was an underwriting manager at Chase. So with that background, it helps me in the mortgage industry. I mean, in the real estate. So I'm able to talk to clients literally like a doctor, have a 5-minute conversation with them, and then have a plan for them. And so a lot of realtors don't have that. They rely upon a loan officer to be able to navigate them through and hoping that it sticks. No, we're going to talk 5 minutes. I'm going to tell you where you are. We're going to lay out a plan. If you got credit challenges, I'm going to give you some because I'm also a certified credit consultant with Freddie Mac. I'm going to tell you what you need to do to get that credit score up. I've gotten
Mhm.
scores up 100 points in 2 weeks and I don't do credit repair. I've gotten scores up 100 points in 2 weeks and I've gotten scores up 187 points in 30 days. So I'm going to be able to analyze your credit report as a free service for my clients and tell them exactly what they have to do, right, to get that score up. So it's not hard. You just have to work with the right people who understand what that process is. And I think that's what gives me a competitive edge. And I just say that humbly.
Mhm.
Because of the mortgage background I have with the real estate background. So when you come to me, I'm doing pre-underwriting before you even look at a home, we're knowing not that you qualify. Once we know you
Wow.
qualify, now we're gonna know what you comfortable with in payment. Because just because you qualify for a $500,000 home, you only want a payment for a $300,000 home. So I'm never gonna go show you a $500,000 home because if I do that, Ed, guess what? They're
Mm.
never gonna like the $300,000 homes, and now they're gonna be living in this home and can't do anything else. Home is not just about paying a mortgage and can't have any life outside of that. So I really help them have a reality check, on what you can afford, where you can buy, and then help them understand that home is your savings account. How fast can you save $100,000? We're gonna teach you
Right.
how to do that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
another thing too, Ms. Neese, thank you for sharing that because that is vitally important when it comes to learning what you're capable of. And people work
Mm-hmm.
jobs
Mm-hmm.
and have
Mm-hmm.
these careers, but never owned a home, but they always been renting. And I
Mm-hmm.
think
Mm-hmm.
that's what, and as I look around the country and I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs that just starting their own businesses, and which I'm happy
Mm-hmm.
about, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited because I do a lot of startups. That's my target market, is startup
Mm-hmm.
companies. And
Mm-hmm.
so,
Mm-hmm.
but none of them own homes. They all rent.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
man, so the money's going out, but you're
Mm-hmm.
not getting
Mm-hmm.
anything in return
Mm-hmm. Well,
for
let me
that.
say something. First and foremost, again, this is my mortgage background speaking, right? Entrepreneurs, if they don't structure things properly, it's hard for them to buy because they're going to look at you can make $1 million a year, but if you write everything off and your adjusted gross income says you make $10,000 when it's all said and done because you didn't want to pay Uncle Sam, you can't buy a house because we're going to qualify you on that $10,000. So it's all about structure and strategy. When you're an entrepreneur, you got to know how to structure yourself as a business owner so you can still be able to afford homes and become financeable, right? Bankable,
Hmm.
as we say. So they got to have a strategy and someone to be able to navigate them through that. Say, okay, guess what? You own a home. We don't want to pay Uncle Sam either. Think about all the big boys. They know how to not pay Uncle Sam, right? But
Right,
they know how
right,
to go get what they need because it's
right.
about structure. It's about strategy. So entrepreneurs, and I've been an entrepreneur for well over 35 years. We got to know how to structure our businesses so that we can own homes. Otherwise, we're forced to rent. Most of us as entrepreneurs, we can't go save 20% because if I don't structure right, that means I got to come up with 20%. And we don't have it. That forces you to continue to be in that rat race and
Yeah,
always be a renter, right? So they
right.
got to have the right structure and the right strategy so that they can too participate and purchase homes. And I can
Wow.
provide that guidance to them.
So, what is the first step someone that should take, or they think they want to buy a home, but they yet don't know what they want, where to go, and what area
Mhm.
to look in? Because especially if you have a family and you got
Mhm.
kids,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
we always look at the schools, we're always looking at the area,
Absolutely.
the areas.
Absolutely.
So, how do you structure someone to go in and then say, "Hey, Mr. Nice, I want to buy a home, but I mean, I don't know what area. I want to know what's a good area
Mhm.
for a family of four."
Absolutely. First and foremost, I always tell them this, education is important and schools are important. But not only is education and schools important, also where you work. Because if you got 4 kids, you can't be traveling an hour and a half going to work and an hour and a half coming back. You done lost 3 hours with your children. And then by
Yeah.
the time you come home, so we have to think about all of those things. So when I'm working with families, I help them understand commute time and all of those things. We're going to look at commute time. We're going to look at the schools around. And more importantly, we're going to see what is your budget dictate.
Mhm.
I don't care. Again, we're going to talk about the pre-approval process and what that looks like. But just because you are pre-approved for that dollar amount, I don't want you doing that if you got 4 kids and you can't put them in any extracurricular activities. So we navigate them, we help them understand the importance, help them understand that this home may not be the perfect home, the dream home right now. But guess what? If I can get you into this home and you own it, and you're there for a few years and you accumulate some equity, you can now take that equity and move into the next home. So it's really about just informing them on things that they can do and really helping them understand the importance of owning, and the more importantly of how owning, how that can benefit you equity wise so you can use that later. So
Yeah.
every person is different, Ed. Every person's situation is different. I want to sit down with them. I want to learn what's important from them. You know, what is it in schools? Is it this? All of those things. And then we come up with a plan so that more importantly, we can get you into a home. So every person is different. You want to listen to them and know what's important. That's a key. And then giving them hope, knowing that it's possible. And if it ain't possible or not, I never say ain't. If it's not, and I know that's not proper, right? But if it
That's all right.
if it's not proper, if it's not possible now, guess
Yeah.
what? Doesn't mean it's not possible later. So we'll
Right.
lay out a plan. I can definitely tell you, oh, based on your credit, based on these things, it's probably going to take you 3 months. It's probably going to take you 6 months. It's going to be based on their personal situation. But just giving them hope, knowing it's possible, is the most important thing.
Yeah, I got, and I talk to a lot, like I said, other realtors and other people in the industry, and they're saying that, this, and I got friends that's, now that I got my house, now everybody want to get a house now. It's like everybody,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you got a house,
Mm-hmm.
I gotta get me a house.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's
That's right.
fine. And, and some people are already looking, but here's the question that I wanted to ask you. How important is it getting it pre-approved before looking for a home?
Without a doubt, it's important, and people need to understand the difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval. Pre-approval gives you your buying power. Number one, out there and you're comparing and competing against other buyers, the seller wants to know that you've gone through the process, that they've looked at your credit report, that they've looked at your income, that they've looked at your assets. And if you've done that, it's going to strengthen your offer and also let you know what your buying power is. So I don't believe in putting anybody in a car and having them go looking at properties if they don't know how much they qualify for, and more importantly, what those payments are going to be. Making sure that they know what their taxes and insurance is, if there's HOA, all of those things influence your monthly payment. And so we have to make sure that they understand what approval is, how it strengthens your offer, knowing your buying power. And then more importantly, for me, all of my clients, they don't even begin to shop. I won't even begin to allow them to shop without making
Mhm.
sure all their documents are in first. How many
Right,
surprises have I had when the 11th hour the underwriter says, oh, and by the way, we need your divorce decree because you were married and your divorce decree is in Mississippi and you're in California. You don't know how to get it,
right,
right? And now you're
right,
stressed out trying to figure it out. And so that's why they say purchasing a home is stressful. It's only stressful when you're working with people who don't know how to ask the right questions up front. So we get all of that information up front, get it to the lender, and now when you purchase a home and you go on contract, you know that you qualify because we've gotten everything that they need, right? So
right.
yes, you've got to be pre-approved. You're not pre-qualified. Pre-approved means an underwriter has signed off on it and said, yes, based on what I reviewed, you're approved, right?
Hmm.
Not based on what you told me. Based on what you told me is a pre-qualification, but based on what you've proved to me is a pre-approval. And that strengthens your buyer power.
Wow, that is great information. I'm glad you shared that because that is most critical piece to it. And
Mm-hmm.
and then again, you look at all of the programs that's out here today, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are looking at the programs and they're like, well, what programs are available for teachers, for nurses, and first
Mm-hmm.
responders,
Mm-hmm.
veterans, and other professionals? And
Mm-hmm.
the other
Mm-hmm.
question I get is always, can self-employed buyers qualify for home ownership through a program?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and
So,
ask that question.
mm-hmm.
So what do we do about that with
Right.
self-employed people?
Again, same thing with self-employed. It's all about what? Strategy. Can self-employed qualify for down payment assistance programs with the right strategy? So if they don't have if their tax returns is going to reflect everything written off, absolutely not, because how can I prove your income? I can't. But if you know how to structure your business that gives you the income to qualify, now you can
Right.
qualify for a down payment assistance program. So it's all about strategy. It's all about strategy. First responders, teachers next door, all of those programs. Again, first time homebuyer programs. If you haven't owned a home within the last 3 years, there's so many programs out there, Ed. There's national programs, there's state programs, there's city programs, there's private programs, there's CRA programs. There's so many programs out
Mhm.
there. And again, it's about, and every one of those programs can have a different guideline, but for the most part, they really focus on providing opportunity to the first time home buyer. And you just got to make sure you meet their guidelines. Their guidelines are pretty lenient, though. Some of them are pretty restrictive as in regards to where you live, and then you have some of them that are not as restrictive. But there's
Right,
lots of them out there. So just because one says no or one says you got to live here, guess what? There's another one that says we don't care where you live, right?
right.
So there's a lot
Mhm.
of programs out there.
So now that you in Dallas, Texas, and you see the market there, the state of Texas has its own thing. Unlike other
Mm-hmm.
states that
Mm-hmm.
I've been to,
Mm-hmm.
I know in
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
California, to the way they run that out there, but here in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
what's
Mm-hmm.
the difference that you see that is different from where you came from in California to the state of Texas?
When it comes to the underwriting guidelines are the same across the board because all of our
Okay,
loans are insured by Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, right? So
right.
underwriting guidelines, you're not going to see a difference. When it
Okay.
comes to programs, city programs, county programs, a lot of times you'll see a lot of the similarities in the program guidelines. So you don't see a bunch of similarities in the program guidelines. However, where I've seen the biggest difference is in the property taxes. The property taxes are something that people that are moving to the Metroplex need to pay attention to. A lot of times we look at just your principal and interest payment, and so you think that is what your payment is, and then you're sticker shocked when you see what those taxes are. So the biggest difference between purchasing between states is
Hmm.
knowing what the property taxes are because that directly impacts your monthly payment. But in
Right.
terms of guidelines, underwriting guidelines, you don't see there's no big difference. Outside of in Texas, we have programs, and this is not specifically just first-time homebuyers, but for example, in California, you can take out a little more money on your properties when you're refinancing, as opposed to Texas is a little different. Once a cash out, always a cash out, right? And so Texas is different when it comes to the refinancing side, but on the purchase market, it's basically the same across the board.
Okay, good. Well,
Mhm.
that's good to know. And I know a lot of people that's moving and shifting and say, well, I come from this state, I come from that state. And what about those that
Mhm.
have home in other states that want to sell the house there and then come to Texas and purchase a home there?
Mhm.
How would they go about that coming from another state,
I would say
purchase a home?
absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes it's again, I always talk strategy. That's my word, right? Because I'm not always an advocate of getting rid of an asset that's appreciating. So again, we need the money from that property. We need to sell the property, or do we want to refinance the property and let somebody else pay for the property, right? Because you don't pay taxes on borrowed money. So if I can take some money out of that property and use that money that I've took from that property to purchase another property, and somebody else is paying for that property in terms of a renter, in terms of somebody on Section 8, guess what? That's a win-win. However, if you, and a lot of times it's really about helping them understand that future appreciation is worth $100,000 today. Imagine you own it for 10 more years and somebody else is paying for it. You just accumulated more appreciation, right? More equity.
Oh,
So
equity,
really
yeah.
helping them understand the value of holding on when you can. If not, then of course you have to coordinate selling the property and then taking the proceeds of that property and take them in and put them into a down payment on this property. However, Ed, this is what I tell people, and coming from the mortgage industry, a lot of times we think larger down payments is better. I
Hmm.
don't always agree with that.
Okay.
If you buy down the interest rates, believe it or not, sometimes you have the biggest impact and better impact than it would putting down a substantial down payment. So I can pay 2 points and pay $10,000 on 2 points. That's going to give me what I did if I paid $100,000 down. Now I still got $90,000 in my bank account and I just paid
Wow.
$10,000 for 2 points, right? Which is better? The market crashes, you ain't lost your $90,000 just sitting in your bank. Market crashes, you lost your $90,000, and now market
Right.
crash, it means your job crashed, and now you're having hard times. So again, coming from the mortgage industry gives me that advantage of helping them understand how to utilize those proceeds. Don't dump it all here. in your property. Use OPM like everybody else does. Understand the
Other
value of
people's
using
money.
other people's money.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And let's buy down some interest rates. Let's keep your money and let your money work from you in other ways as opposed to dumping it all into one property. That's where I see to me, I feel like that's one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people make is putting it all in one house because of the
Just
proceeds. Yes.
right.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. Now in Texas, and I've studied this too, Miss Abrams, is that when I look at the kids or young people in Dallas and as well as in Houston, Houston is the fourth largest city in the United States. Dallas is number five, fifth largest city in the United States. And when kids get their house, inherit the house, they don't do anything but quickly sell it. I've
That's
seen a
right.
whole neighborhood,
Yes,
Miss
ma'am.
April,
Yes,
a
sir.
whole neighborhood where the family members that may have passed on or they left it to their
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
children, and they don't know what to do with it because they're not educated.
That's right. That's right.
These are where the programs and the education piece come into for those who are just getting into those kind of homes. And I've seen that a lot in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, you should have sold the
Mm-hmm.
house. You should have kept
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
because you got
Mm-hmm.
equity built into it, but you
That's
didn't
right.
know.
And
So
nobody
you
told them.
figure nobody, yes,
Mm-hmm.
ma'am. And another thing
Mm-hmm.
is somebody come in with a low bar number on the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
property, not getting the
Mm-hmm.
property appraised, not getting the property
Yes. Yes.
evaluation.
Yes. Yes.
Now they've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I see this all the time,
Me
and
too.
it's unfortunate. So my question is, with your program, how do you get it out there? We need to get it out there. So
Yes. Yes.
I want to co-op with you on getting it out in Dallas because there's a
Absolutely.
lot of homeowners in Dallas going through the same thing that I'm talking about.
Yes. Absolutely. And it's fun. It's
Go
funny
ahead.
you say that. I don't know if I just shared this with Cece. I believe I did. She and I just had this conversation maybe a few days ago. There was a young man. He actually inherited a property in Georgia. The property was free and clear. Someone wanted to put him in a loan that's going to give him $1 million now. And in 12 months, that loan was going to become due. The property may have been worth like, I'm just going to say some number, maybe 3, 4 million, right? 70% may have been worth $3 or $4 million. He was going to lose that property in 12 months because he didn't have an exit strategy. That realtor didn't care. What she said is, you're going to get $30,000 because I'm going to get 30. You're going to get $30,000 just by helping him. I'm like, no, that's not helping him. That's exploiting him because we know in 12 months he's not going to qualify. And so now you're forcing him to do something and lose his property. We can't do that. And I have seen that so many times in the industry where our people are exploited and they have run into hard times or run into hardships, and now someone's coming and lowballing them and they don't understand the value of what they have. You're not going to
Right,
get that when you work with me. And I don't say this as no sales pitch, no cliche or anything. I'm going to give you the truth and reality of things. I'm going to talk you out of selling a property. And even though I'm not getting paid, or I'll help you understand why you need to sell the property. But the most important thing people need to understand, when people are looking to sell rush quickly, it's because they have something coming, something pressing, a financial hardship or whatever. If there's another way that we can help them to access that equity and still maintain, by all means. But if you need to sell, let's not sell rush and let them take 50% of the equity, 60% of the equity. Let's get you sold at market value. If you need
yeah,
to sell below market value because of the property condition, let's get you sold at below market value, but still at a fair value. Don't be exploited. And that's what I see. So many of us are exploited because we don't understand. I got $1 million property over there, and somebody came and offered me $100,000, and you have never seen $100,000 in your life and don't know the value of what you have. That's exploitation to me, right?
ooh,
Let me
yes, ma'am,
tell you, you
yes,
got a
ma'am.
$1 million property. Yes, you got about maybe $100,000 worth of work. So therefore, instead of me giving you $100,000, how about I give you, okay, $100,000? Let me do some math. Let me do some calculation, and let me give you a fair price as opposed to exploiting you because I see you don't know and pressuring you. So our people really need to be educated. They need to go play Monopoly. Monopoly. You buy two houses in a hotel, right? Understanding the value of real estate.
Oh, I
You
love
gotta,
Monopoly. I played
yes.
that when I was a kid.
Yes.
I love
Yes,
that.
I'm telling you, we
Right.
need to go back and play Monopoly. We need to
That's one
understand
of the
what we
things.
have.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Well, you have
yes.
been a really a great guest, and I really thank you for
Thank you.
sharing. And there's a lot of
Thank
things
you
we
for
gonna have
having me.
to. I have to have you back on again because,
Thank
um,
you.
as I share with other realtors, that's closely connected to how I look at outlets of life and what's going on in our with our people. And like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen whole blocks of neighborhoods abandoned
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes,
because
absolutely.
people got foreclosed on. The foreclosure rates then went up on a
That's
lot of
right.
these properties because they didn't either know to pay the taxes, they got lowballed and
Mm-hmm.
didn't know what to do with it, and
Mm-hmm.
so forth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or in a lot of opportunities that they did not get a chance to take advantage of because they didn't know. And
Absolutely.
this is one of the things that I say we need to stop this because then people prey on people that don't have,
That's
and that's what
right.
the Bible says. My people perish for the lack of knowledge.
My favorite scripture, Micah 6 and 8, right? Hosea
And
4 and
yes,
6.
yes. And
Mm-hmm.
so we need to
Mm-hmm.
educate more. And this is why I'm
Mm-hmm.
a big stickler here on my podcast at G.T.E Pro Network Podcast. And my company name is Global Touch Enterprise. And when God
Mm-hmm.
gave me that
Mm-hmm.
name, Global Touch Enterprise, I knew I was going to touch the globe on everything I'm doing. I'm in
Mm-hmm.
12
Mm-hmm.
states doing what I'm doing today. There is
Wow.
no industry I can't touch, no state I can't get into, no
Mm-hmm.
country
Mm-hmm.
I can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already in Nigeria. And
Wow.
and then I'm also in Zimbabwe.
Wow.
And one thing I can say, and I'm part Nigerian myself from my ancestry.com's idea
Okay.
of that DNA testing thing that they did.
Okay.
So it's interesting. Just going back, my folks are from Mississippi.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My all of my people are from the deltas,
Mm-hmm.
and it's 14 towns in the deltas in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm helping right now, Forest Point, Mississippi. CC Mullen and I, we're all co-oping to help Mr. Brown down there in Mississippi. He's rebuilding that whole town. It's over
Mm-hmm.
2,200
Mm-hmm.
people there, and it's 98% black.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So we talk about history. I'm a big history buff, and I'm
Wow.
all about that. And I'm teaching young people, my nieces and nephews,
Mm-hmm.
all of that,
Mm-hmm.
and so they can learn where they
Mm-hmm.
come
Mm-hmm.
from, what they
That's
have,
right.
and what's the stock about it, and how that
Mm-hmm.
we are just resilient people. Period.
Mm-hmm. 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 I love it.
And
We are.
we're peculiar people.
Absolutely.
And no matter
Absolutely.
how many times they try to destroy us, we are never. God is that's not going to happen.
Man, it's
Not going
something.
to happen.
It's something. It's something
Right.
about us that's special. Yes.
Right. And so you kind of
Mm-hmm.
find the passion to do the things that you're doing, and you now being a licensed realtor and you looking at how you can benefit and help others as a strategist. I
Mm-hmm.
like the term that you are a
Mm-hmm.
strategist, and that's where it has to be. Me,
That's
I'm a
right.
development coach. They call me development
Mm-hmm.
coach. I
Development coach.
develop
Okay, I like
help
it.
I help developing people to grow and build as a wise master builder, to use the
Mm-hmm.
right precious stones materials to build with.
I love it. I love it.
And
I love
God
it.
gave me that, and I use that to this very day to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that everybody understands exactly what's necessary for them to
Mm-hmm.
grow. Because growth to me is the
Mm-hmm.
most important commodity on the planet.
That's right. That's
Without
right.
growth,
I
we're
agree.
not living, we're just existing.
That's right. I
And
agree
that's what we're here to
wholeheartedly.
do. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So now, and how long have you been in Dallas now with your business?
I actually obtained my broker's license in Dallas in 2011, but I went back and forth home for a moment, Texas, California. I couldn't grip it. But I've been back here since January of 2024. So January 2024, I closed the door and I said, okay, this is home now. So I got to make the best of it here. And so that's where I am. So since 2024, although I came originally 2007, like I said, I went back and forth home because I just couldn't grip Texas. But it's home now. My children are
Yeah.
here, my grandchildren are here, and hopefully
Good.
one day my husband will be here. And
Yes,
yes,
he
I'm
will. Yes, he will.
hmm
We're gonna speak that. 'Cause I need a wife myself, so I'm thinking about that. But
Yes.
God is good, and He will. He will give you
hmm
the desires of your
hmm
heart.
That's
And I'm
right.
really happy for you that you're able to
Thank
work the
you.
way you are, doing
Thank you.
diligently. And thank God for CC Moore for introducing me to you.
Thank you.
And I'm really happy to now. We're friends now. We good.
Yay, I love it. I love it.
So you got a good brother up here. And so we'll work together. Like I said, your program, your promotions. Now, as I share with you all, ladies and gentlemen, we talk about the 5 P's of marketing, which is all about the people, the product, the price, the place, and the promotion. Once you understand the 5 P's of marketing, you can be successful. I've been saying this for years, and my theme has always been, building networks and improving people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And we're
Mm-hmm.
not building businesses anymore. We're building networks. We're building
That's right.
systems.
That's
And
right.
system for me to save yourself time, energy, and money. That's my acronym for system. Save yourself
Mm-hmm.
time, energy, and money. And always continue to be able, always be learning every day.
That's
I
right.
use the ABLE effect. I love acronyms, by the way. So
Mm-hmm.
I use
Mm-hmm.
that all the way. And always use what I call the win formula. What's important now? If it's
I love
important
it.
to do it, do it. If it's not,
Mm-hmm.
don't touch it.
That's
Now,
right.
I give you all of this because I want to make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you have what you need to continue to grow. And Miss Denise, how can I get in touch with you for those that's in the Dallas arena? How can I get in contact with you, and where can I go to learn more about your strategies?
Thank you so much. Well, I do have a website. It's deniseabrams.com. That's Denise, Denise, Abrams.com. That's my website address. Or you can always, I do take phone calls and I do take text messages. So if it's okay, you're always welcome to call me or text me and say, hey, I saw you on Ed's show, the GTE show. Did I say it right? The GTE
Yep.
show. And it's 682-401-1113. Again, that's 682-401-1113. And I would love to be able to speak with you and help you navigate through the process and show how it's possible. So
Well,
thank you.
thank you. Well, there you have it, folks. I'm really excited. Thank you all for this show, coming on to this edition of GTE Pro Network Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Ed Peterson. We do this every Tuesday and Thursdays, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. The month of July, as I shared with you all before, this is the third quarter of the year. And we do a 90-day run. How do
Right.
we build consistently and staying focused on our goals, making sure that we do not stop, we do not give up, we do not quit, and we do not get distracted.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to starve your distractions, but you want to feed your focus.
Mm-hmm. I
Starve
love
your
it.
distractions and you want to feed your focus.
Mm-hmm.
This right here is what I do on a daily basis. And you
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure you have your vision board, your board that you have, that you want to keep track of your daily activities. And
Mm-hmm.
again, go to our website at globaltouchenterprise.com. You'll see everything that I do there. You can actually Google me. I love that. Google me, please. Google Global Touch Enterprise or Edward
Mm-hmm.
Peterson Jr. That's my name, Edward Peterson Jr. You can
Mm-hmm.
understand this is how you're supposed to market yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all about ownership.
That's right.
Own your own narrative, own your own content, your own website. And that's why I teach
Mm-hmm.
and train this on a regular, that your website should be a lead generating machine and also a marketing tool.
Mm-hmm.
Because with AI now, AI does a lot of my stuff automatically for me. I don't have to do it. It does all of my marketing campaigns that I run on social media, as well as on the search engine Yahoo, Google, and Bing.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I'm educating now kids how to do the same thing with their businesses getting started.
Love it.
So always come back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back again Tuesday. I'm gonna have some more special guests. I don't know who yet, but I'm surprised you guys as we continue on. But Miss Denise Abrams will be back on again for her real estate strategies, and we're gonna have her as a regular strategist to talk about a lot of the tools, information, and tips that you guys can gain. And I hope that you take over as much gold. You can always check me out on my YouTube channel at Edward Peterson Jr. You can always go to my YouTube channel, like and subscribe, of course. Also on my Facebook and also LinkedIn, which I love my LinkedIn. And then also my fan base, which is Black-owned social media platform that we got by Isaac Hayes III out of Atlanta, Georgia, my brother from another mother.
I love
So
it.
we have a lot of good opportunities where I'm meeting a lot of good people across the board, across the country. There is no limit, ladies and gentlemen. There is no such thing as shortage of funds.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to know how to go out and get it and come back with it.
That's
Bottom
right. I
line.
love it. I
So
love
with
it.
that, Mr. Lee, thank you again for coming on to this edition of GTE Professional Network Podcast. Again, we're going to have you back on. And ladies and gentlemen, as always, keep the faith. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, keep building your dream. Peace out now. Talk to you later.
Thank you for
Bye now.
having me. Thank you. Bye-bye.